Hello, everyone, and welcome to What's Your Story Radio. I was going to turn Jillie's video off, but surprise, Jillie, I'm not doing that. I'm just going to have you here with me, all right? Because I don't want you going anywhere. Jillie is my guest today, but before we talk to Jillie, I just want to tell you a little bit about her. And I also want to thank you so much for being part of What's Your Story Radio. You email me, you text me, you tell me how much you like my guest, you tell me how much you would like to connect with them, you write emails, and I'm so appreciative. I'm so grateful because it tells me what I'm doing is important to you. And that's what this is about for me. It's being important to you and sharing your story because we all have our own unique story. And how we do it, the way we do it, is totally up to us. There's no judgment here on What's Your Story. It's all about the story and how we present it to the world. So today I have Jillie Johnston with me, and Jillie is the founder of Love Letters to Yourself. And she's a devoted ambassador of self-love. She empowers people through self-love to discover their voice, worth, and power. Look at her lovely face. Connect with her right at this moment. I'm telling you right now. She has had a unique and uplifting journey that inspires people of all ages to rediscover their power and their potential. In her workshops, speaking events, and one-on-one private coaching, she offers simple, creative ideas and daily practices to tap into self-love or self-confidence or anything you'd like to call it, to be okay with loving yourself. Jillian is a speaker, she's a coach, and I love this about you, Jillian. She's a joy spreader. She is an absolute joy spreader. She has been featured in the Daily Herald as a person to be thankful for by the Naperville magazine. Jillian is one of the 15 fascinating faces of Naperville, named by Glancer magazine, and is one young world ambassador for the United States. Jillian also proudly co-founded the Malayika Charity Empowerment Center in Peru, and we'll correct that if we need to. And she has spoken at DaVita Inc., University of Michigan Medical School, Naperville Central High School, Naperville North High School, and many others. So thank you for being here today, Jillian. I'm so pleased to have you. And today, we're going to talk about love because this is the inspiration, the elevation of inspiration piece of What's Your Story Radio. And once a month, I speak to someone who I feel is a leader and expert in a certain topic. And when I read about you and when I got to know you, I felt that that was truly so about you with love.
Kathy, I'm so excited to be here and to be talking to you and talking to everyone that's listening now and will listen later, and just being able to be me. This is so much a part of who I am to my core. It's everything that I am. And so to be able to share this and share myself, share my story, and my message is just amazing and such a privilege. So thank you for having me. And it's also timely because tomorrow is International Women's Day. March 8th is International Women's Day. So this is also super timely. So thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about what led you to start empowering others through self-love.
Story, right? And everything that we learn and the message that we spread is really because we need it the most. And so that's kind of where this came from, was out of my own need of loving myself, showing myself love, showing myself compassion, having patience and self-acceptance and all of those things. So I call myself a recovering perfectionist. And as I say that, a lot of people can identify with me when I say that because when I was little, I told myself that in order to be loved, I had to be perfect. And so that meant perfect grades, perfect attendance, best at everything that I did, student, like teacher's pet kind of thing. And I put so much pressure on myself, perfect, and to succeed, that I lost who I was. And I really didn't know who I was because I had all these expectations that I thought other people had of me and that I had of myself. And so that led to anxiety, depression, and all sorts of things that just like confused me, and I felt so conflicted, and like I didn't know who I was. And so I played soccer my whole life, and so being an athlete too had to be the best and had all the pressure there too. And when I was growing up, like I had this idea of what love meant and what it meant to me and how it played in my life. And when I was 15 years old, I was sexually abused by a former soccer coach, and it gave me my first taste of what love, right? And I'm using the air quotes around that, what love meant, because it was very distorted. So love meant manipulation and control and abuse. And so from there, it's like I had all that shame and all that guilt and kind of that silence and secrecy of being a victim, right? And so I had to maneuver that, and through that, like, had to learn self-forgiveness and self-acceptance and self-compassion, and took years to move through that. And it's still something, everyone, no matter what kind of relationship you've been in, everyone has felt shame at some point, has felt self-loathing or self-hatred, and it's learning how to forgive yourself. And so in college, my parents went through a divorce, and even though divorce rate is 52% of people, it really shatters your world. And it turns it upside down, right? And so it started making me question love. And I was like, you know what? I don't believe in love. Love has never done it. 22, you're probably a little young to be so cynical. So I was like, you know what? Get curious and ask questions. So I started asking. I read the book Still Life with Woodpecker, and I started asking the questions. Does love exist? What does love mean? Is there anything such as unconditional love? And how do you make love stay? And I became obsessed with this. I started interviewing people, all sorts of people. So whether they were single or married, happily or unhappily, widowed, divorced, whatever, right. All different types of couples. And I did my own independent research and started reading articles and documentaries, watching documentaries. And what I found were the people who were happiest, not just in their relationships and not just in their career, but in life in general, and also, most importantly, with themselves, were the people who knew that they were whole and complete on their own. People who knew that they didn't need saving or fixing, and then they didn't need somebody else to complete them. That they were whole and complete on their own, and that anyone else's love was like this external bonus. It was like this cherry on top. And their value, and it was the relationship that they had with themselves, they constantly worked at. And so I was like, oh my God, like they had this key, they had this secret to life, right? I wanted it. And I was like, oh my God, like that's what I want. So I started on my own journey. And really it was, I didn't know how. And so I was like, I don't know how. So I'm just going to ask people how they did it. And then I'm going to figure it out on my own. And so after I graduated, I had, and the universe gives us such gifts. And sometimes the gifts can come in many different looking packages, and they might not always be in the prettiest ones, but usually those are the ones that are most important. So after I graduated, I had like all the dreams and hopes of traveling the world, of finding my dream job, of buying a house, of finding the partner of my dreams. And a year after I graduated, yeah, perfect package. There you go. And it was a year after I graduated. I was living at home. I was helping my family through the divorce. All my relationships were in complete shambles. I wasn't using my college education. I felt like I had no purpose, and that's not me. Like I've always felt like I've had something to live for. And I was just at an all-time low of my self-worth. And so I was laying in bed one night, and I was like, you know what? I just wish someone would write me a love letter. I don't care who. I wish someone would write me and tell me that they love me, why they love me, and that their love wasn't going anywhere. Because I had this void that I wanted filled. And then I started thinking back about, being a perfectionist, being a people pleaser. I've always one's love, acceptance, and approval. I've always gotten everyone's love, acceptance, and approval except my own. And so I knew that if I got this love letter, just like any of the other love letters, both literal and figurative, that it would fill this void that I had for 1, 2, 3 days, and then it wouldn't be enough. Then I'd want another one. And so when I had that realization, it was like also this message at the same time came crashing down from the universe, and it said, Jillie, write yourself a love letter. It's your love is the only love that isn't going anywhere. Your love is the only one that truly matters. And until you love yourself, no one else's love is ever going to be good enough, and no one else's love can fill that void. Only you can. So I was crying, I wiped my tears, and I spent the next hour and a half, 2 hours, struggling through and writing me something that I wish someone else would write me. And in that moment, it wasn't like a switch did flick on for me. But it wasn't like I automatically loved myself. It wasn't like this huge change happened in my life. But what it was the seed that was planted. And where your focus goes, right, your energy flows. And so all of a sudden, by just writing that love letter and taking that 2 hours, I started focusing on what self-love meant to me. And as I did that, my life slowly, right, now it's been 5, 6 years, my life slowly has begun to shift and to change. And so I was like, in that moment, I was like, oh my God, could you imagine if at that time I was very focused on women, but that if every woman around the world was allowed to and give permission to write themselves a love letter and profess their own love and know that they are so worthy of love and belonging. Because society, right, has all these standards, these regulations, these expectations on love. What love is supposed to be, what it's supposed to look like, who you're supposed to love, how you're supposed to love. And as I've gotten older, I've realized that it's really complicated. And just like we all need different sleep, right? We all need different diets. We all need a different exercise regimen. We all need different things. We have different needs. It's the same thing with love. But until we get curious and ask ourselves, like, what do we need and what does love mean to me? What does self-love mean to me? We don't know how to give that to ourselves. So from that point, I was like, you know what? This is my purpose. This is why I'm here. And it's my job, right, to help spread this and plant the seeds and become this self-love ambassador, become this joy spreader, and help people find that part of who they are.
And when you talk about it, I get goosebumps because it's almost like you went through this really kind of hard time, like a really hard time for you personally. And from that came this.
Yeah.
And it's amazing some of the things you said to your point of how we're always trying to get the approval and love of others. So we're always working towards pleasing others instead of ourselves. And in doing that, we lose that piece of ourselves, and we're always looking for someone else to love us, to approve of us, to make us feel better, when it's really up to us, like you said. It's up to us to love ourselves first so that we can spread it out to the universe, to everyone else.
Right.
And you are a joy spreader. I mean, and it's just so wonderful how if we all look at the place that we have in this world, that we were all called to do something if we just
Yeah.
listen. And that's what
Right.
you did. You
Yeah.
listened.
Yeah. Yeah, and you get, I got really in tune, and the thing is, I love the metaphor. So I live in Denver, and I love the mountains, and I love the metaphors of mountains, right? And there's peaks and valleys, just like there are peaks and valleys of life. And this past weekend, I was in Steamboat, and as we were driving there, I was looking at all these really tall mountains. And at the top, once you hit a certain point, there's no more trees. Like there's hardly any
Right.
life after a certain point, right?
Mhm.
So at the top, when we're at the top of a mountain, we feel great, right? And we're at the peak of our life. We get to look down at the valleys, right? And we're standing at the top of our mountain and we're looking down the valleys, and that's where growth happens, right? Growth doesn't happen in the peaks. Growth happens in the valleys if we want to use it that way. And for me, like I like to talk about mindset, and through with my clients I help coach them through mindset shifts, right? And so how can we use once we feel, because I always want to give people permission to feel, like truly feel how you're feeling, be there, sit with it, and then use it. Everything can be viewed as a gift if we choose to view it that way. And how can we be a catalyst for change using those experiences? Because yeah, we can either just like let those experiences go, or we can give an opportunity to share our story and let other people know that they're not alone. And that's the thing, is like we're not alone in this world. We're these social beings that live through others. And to me, what I truly believe is we're all mirrors, right? Of reflecting back what's already inside of us. So Kathy, you're saying like you are a joy spreader. Well, all I am is a mirror to you. And if anything that I say resonates with anyone watching today, I'm going to say this to you too, is all I am is a mirror of something that's already inside, right? And it might just be this reminder that, hey, I have this, and I'm going to dig for it, and I'm going to cultivate it, and I'm going to let it grow. Yeah.
I love that. I love that we mirror each other, and you're absolutely right. So I think I'm going to look in your mirror a lot because I feel good when I look in your mirror. And, many of you might feel the same because you do one-on-one coaching as well, Jillie. And I think that's really important to note because everything that Jillie's saying here is her own experience and her own journey. And she's willing to share that and help others. And I think that's the most important thing that any of us can do in this life. So tell us a little bit before we continue with the interview of how people can contact you, get a hold of you to have some one-on-one coaching and to really explore these concepts that you're talking about.
Yeah, for sure. So right now, so my website, I am working on another one, but my website for right now is loveletterstoyourself.me, so .me. You can contact me through there and sign up for my newsletter, which I send out once a month, and any other events that I'm doing. You can
Nice.
also just email me at loveletterstoyourself@gmail.com, just all spelled out. And like a couple of my biggest values, right, are love, connection, and empowerment. And so even if it's just like, a question or comment, like I love to connect with people, and that's what gives my life meaning. So please, yeah, feel free, anyone out there that like, yeah, this message resonates, please share it, please spread it, and please reach out. And you can also like my Facebook page, which is Love Letters to Yourself, and stay updated there too. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a lovely page. I'm a friend of your Facebook page, so it's a lovely page, and you can keep updated about your events and things that you're doing within the community. And I love seeing that because I know that you just did a yoga class or a exercise class and did some empowerment there. So you can see actually Jillie in action there. So go there and have a look at it because she is walking the walk. It's not just talk here. So tell us a little bit about your own journey and how self-love has affected you. You told us about the things that happened with your, where'd Jillie go? Hey,
You
where'd
froze for a
Jillie
second.
go? There she is.
Yeah, nice.
I was like, okay, where'd she go? Okay, so she's back. She didn't leave us. She just took a moment.
No.
Um, so you talked about your journey of self-love and how you got there, but how has it affected you today in your
Yeah.
everyday life?
Yeah. I mean, I just like from that night, like I said, like my life was in shambles, right? I wasn't happy. And like I didn't have good relationships. And our external world is a reflection of our internal self. And it was because like I didn't know who I was, and I wasn't taking time for myself, and I didn't explore or wasn't healing. And so, and how I treated and talked to myself manifested in my relationships.
Right.
So I would say, like 6 years later, my life has done a 180-degree turn. Of course, life isn't perfect, right? We all have our ups and downs. But I would say every day I wake up with gratitude. Every day I wake up being like, I cannot believe that like I'm living the life that I'm living, right? I have an abundant amount of love. And it's just and so it's amazing. And I've learned to take risks on myself, right? I know that I'm worth that effort. I know that I'm worth that. I say no to others so that I can say yes to myself. And I think the biggest thing for me, especially in 2018, which like this year so far has been unbelievable for me. But what I have done is this year I've put myself first. And I've learned how to fill my cup up so that I can pour into other people's cups, right? And I love this. Like I went to a workshop, and they said it was about manifesting law of attraction, and that is you don't get what you want, you get what you are. And so how can we cultivate those feelings that you want to feel? How can you become that person that you want to become? And that is by creating space for yourself, putting yourself first. And Susanna Campora, who's a friend of mine, just amazing, she has a quote of when you put power in your no, you put magic in your yes. And I've adopted
That saying. Absolutely.
falling guy for me and falling into my lap. And it's just like all of these things that it's just who I am, and I get to give that back. So and it has come from being brave enough, right, and having the courage to feel uncomfortable, to sit in the discomfort, to lean into the discomfort of these feelings, to asking and self-reflecting, and look at some parts that may not be the most comfortable to look at, right? But we have to have the courage to go in there because it is part of who we are. So yeah, every part of my life has changed. And it's beautiful, and more than anything. And last year I did a workshop for a group of high schoolers. And one of the girls, she was 14, she raised her hand and she was like, Jillie, so like, can you tell me like when's the exact day that you loved yourself? Was it like 2 years and 3 months? Was it like a year and 9 months? Like, was there a moment where you're just like, oh my God, I woke up and here I am?
Right.
And my heart like had so much compassion because I'm still wondering that, right? And what I've come to realize, right, is like, just like anything else, it's not about the destination. It's about the journey. And it's about starting now and then 9 months from now, waking up and like something big happening in your life, and you notice that you're talking more kindly to yourself, that you have more patience for yourself, that you're not ripping yourself apart like you used to. And of course, there's going to be those moments and those thoughts. And then you just say, you know what, not going down that rabbit hole. I deserve better than that. And I'm going to give myself more than that. And it's these slow changes, just like a weight loss journey. I'm in fitness, so I like to, just like a weight loss journey.
Right.
First of all, I hate using scales. So
Right.
I always tell people to throw their scale away.
Right.
But if you are weighing yourself, if you weigh yourself every day, you're not really going to see a change. Wait, right? Wait, put that effort in, take time for yourself, develop and cultivate that relationship, put that energy into you, and slowly you're going to see how your life is going to shift.
It's so true, I've spent some time in my own life just loving on the outside and not really loving on the inside. And since I love on the inside now, it is such an amazing change because, like you said, so many things open up to us and we start really, it's like a trickle down effect. We start loving ourselves and then every day changes. It just gets a little bit better and a little bit better. And for some reason, I absolutely see things differently now. I see people differently. I see people in love more than just, sort of a surface idea of people. And I think when we start caring and loving ourselves so much that there's just no other way than for it to open up to our universe. There's just no other way, right?
Totally. Yeah. And I think that's like also originally why I started this, right? Was what is something that I can do that's going to help the world?
Yes.
Right? Like I want my life to mean something. I want when one day, right, we're all going to be forgotten. 200 years from now, right? Like, unless like maybe you're Oprah or Michael Jackson, or Barack Obama, we're going to be forgotten. But our legacy, how we live, how we touch people, what we instill in others, that's what's going to live on. And so until we love ourselves, right? Like you said, like we can't truly love someone else. And so the first step to me in transforming the world and changing the world all starts in here.
Yes.
And then we show up in the world differently. We inspire people differently. We become different. And that's the change. And like, how cool is it that it starts here and we don't have control over many things in life, but we do have control over this. And that's how change can start. So cool. I love it. Like, I just think it's the coolest thing ever. I think it's the most empowering, amazing
thing ever. You can see in your face. You can see in your face and your whole demeanor that you are totally empowered by this whole concept of loving yourself. And it's true. I mean, everything you're saying is absolutely true. And the great thing about it is you're not talking about it because you went to school and you're a psychologist. You're not talking about it because you read it out of a book and you know that that's the way it goes. You're talking about it because it actually happened to you. You actually came into this self-love and your life has changed. And you're here to tell about it and you're here to help others tell their story and live in their truth. And the thing that I love that you say all the time is be curious. Be curious.
Yeah. Be curious. Yeah. Question, right? Like, question. Ask questions. Like, don't just believe what the Disney movies or society tells us. And this is in everything, right? In school, in work, in politics, in social change, in what I'm saying, right? Like everything. Question everything. Get curious about yourself. Why am I feeling this way? What do I want? What does this mean? How can this change? What if I did change? Is this true? Is one of my favorite questions. I learned this from Byron Katie.
Yes.
When you have a self-doubt or criticism or a judgment or someone else does something that hurts you, right? And you go into that story in your mind, you ask yourself, is this true? Get curious and see where it takes you. because that's like the biggest change. The biggest change for me happened because I got curious.
Yeah. Yeah. Get curious and be courageous in your actions because seriously, I don't know. I was never told to be curious as a young person. Don't, it was kind of like mind your own business. Don't, just, it was really tunnel vision. I mean, I came from a whole different era. And when I started to explore and see who I really was, man, it knocked my socks off, really. So when you say be curious, I mean, curious means in here, start here. Like, what do I like to eat? Where do I like to go? Where do I like to sleep? What do I want my place to look like? Where do I want to travel? Like, all those things are curiosity about ourselves that help us love ourselves even more because I love people that like to travel.
Yeah.
I love people that love tacos.
Yeah.
It's just all those little things that really create self-love, and it just comes out of us. Like when you meet people and they get to know you, they see it right away. They see that you love yourself. I mean, I see it from you sitting here.
Yeah.
It's a lovely thing. It's a lovely thing. And I want it for everybody, just like you do.
Totally. Everyone deserves it. Every person deserves it. Every person is worthy of love and belonging. Every person is worthy to know that they can create the life that they want. That their dreams aren't that out of reach, right? Like they are worthy of knowing that they're worth the effort to get to know themselves, to bring themselves joy, right? So that they can show up for other people in their life that they love differently. And it all starts within.
You've talked a lot about what love means to love yourself and why it's important to love yourself. But tell us now, what is your why? You have a why, and what is your why?
Yeah. My why is because I know I've lived both lives, right? And I know the difference that it's made. And I also have experienced, like I have shared a little bit about my story, right? And I have some of the most amazing people in my life. I had the most beautiful on the inside and out, some of the most inspiring, great leaders, change makers, movers and shakers, just people who are just these magnets and radiate the most incredible things. And I see them in people who have struggled with eating disorders, people who struggle with anxiety and depression, people who won't take a chance on themselves because they don't believe in themselves enough, that they're smart enough or good enough or capable enough. And these people, right, who mean the world to me, I'm also doing it for them because they deserve it. And I want these people to know, both the people who I know personally and the people who I don't, right, who might be watching this and being like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. Like, you are my why. I believe in you and your power just like I believe in my power. And I believe in the potential that we all have to make this world a little bit brighter. And the gifts and talents that each of us have that is only unique to us, right? Other people do the same thing that I do, right? Other people love, like, our self-love coaches, right? Our empowerment coaches, our speakers, our writers, and guess what? That's amazing. That's amazing. And they bring their own experience and they bring their own power and gifts in their own way. That's going to resonate and change people's lives in their own way. Just like I'm doing it with me, and we're all working together. And so all of those people are sitting there right now saying, like, I don't know about this, I don't know if I can do this, I don't know if I'm worthy, I don't know if I have time. You're my why. And it's because of the life that I've lived and how I've seen my change that's also my why. Yeah, and it's just, I I am so passionate and believe in it so much. And like that's if one person can hear this and do something with it, then I've lived a successful life.
So true. So true. If we can make a difference in someone's life, one life, and we
Yeah.
resonate what we say or what we do, then we have done our job. Because
Yeah.
it is so important to connect with others and be a part of the big picture and really commit to loving ourselves and teaching others how to love themselves. I mean, that's a wonderful thing. There's nothing better than love. I mean, I don't even know
Right.
another word that's better than love
Yeah.
or another feeling that's better than love. So,
Yeah.
gosh,
Right.
put number one on the list and get started, really. So,
Yeah.
what's your mission and vision for this message?
Yeah. Um, so my mission is to empower people through self-love to rediscover their voice, their worth, and their power. So that has been my mission for years, and now it's like since I've experienced it and lived it, um, I'm also realizing that it's also my mission as it's shifting to inspire people to live and love deeply and through gratitude and through self-love. And my vision of this, right, is that love letters to yourself and I become like a leading inspirer of self-love to people around the world. And that it's no longer, it becomes such an everyday thing and an everyday conversation that it's no longer even like newsworthy, right? Or like
Right.
interview worthy because it happens every day. Just as like as simple and as natural as, hey, how was your day today? It's like, hey, how is your relationship with yourself going? How'd you show love to yourself today? Right? And like mothers can talk to their daughters, fathers can talk to their sons, aunts and nieces and nephews, right? And grandmothers and grandfathers, and like in relationships together. And it's something that can be talked about in school, right? Emphasized and shown and shared. Um, and in our healthcare system, right, of it not just talking about medicine and our symptoms, but also bringing in that emotional component, right? So that's an integral part of our culture and of our society in our curriculum, and it's something that we are brought up with from like the day that we're born. And that's what's so cool is the people who are listening right now, and Kathy, you and I, everything we do has an impact and we have a ripple effect. And kids, whether you are a parent yourself or you have little ones that are looking up to you in one way or another, which we all do,
Right.
they don't listen to our words, right? They do kind of, right? But they follow in our footsteps. And so they see and they watch what we do, how we act, what we say, how we treat ourselves, right? The energy that we bring. And so by doing this, by putting ourselves first, by developing that relationship with ourselves, we are showing them what to do too. And so it's not about our generation. It's not even maybe about the next generation. It's that following generation that's really, it's going to make an impact. And so like, how cool is it? Once again, like we have that potential to affect generation. It's amazing.
It's amazing. I mean, it is.
Yeah.
And we don't even realize it half the time. We just, the one thing that you said that is very, very important, and I've told my kids this themselves, is actions speak louder than words. So
Yeah.
what you emulate for others is how they see you. You can talk all day about loving yourself, but if you don't follow that path, it is pretty
Right.
much shown pretty quickly
Right.
that,
Right.
but when you walk the walk, it is,
Yeah.
people see it, they admire it, and the best thing of all is they want what you have
Right.
because you've so inspired them.
Yeah.
So I really love your mission and I love your vision and I love the fact that you are out in the world today, just this moment, I can only talk about this moment, spreading what self-love means to you and how you are willing. And this is the big one, folks, because guess what? Everybody's so busy to take the time to really look at what and how you can love yourself.
Right.
And so that's what Jillie does. She does some of that. So please connect with her. You know, she does one-on-one coaching. She's a speaker. You know, if this resonates with you, contact her. You can find her information on Facebook. She has a Facebook page. She has a Facebook page, your love letters to yourself. And your website is called, what is your website called? Uh-oh. Something happened.
Yourself.me.
There we go. Awesome.
There we
I
go.
know I lost you for a minute. I couldn't see you, but then I could hear you fine. I think it's just me.
Yeah.
It's me. And I think someone you know might be tampering with us. So we probably should mention her along the way.
Yeah. Well, I want like kind of going off of that, right, is just because I think loving yourself, right, means that you love yourself through the hard times, right, the dark times. You have compassion for yourself because we all have those. And why, and I said earlier that 2018 has been a huge year for me. And Kathy, I'm going to share why. On December 31st, my best friend was killed in the Costa Rican plane crash. And I have never lost someone who's meant so much to me, she was not just my best friend, but my soul sister. And we've had so many conversations about self-love and about gratitude. And through this experience, I've felt this grief and this sorrow and just these emotions that, to the depth I've never experienced. And what I'm learning, right, is the depth of the grief and the sorrow. She lived and just radiated joy and authenticity and adventure and free spirit and gratitude, and was just the most joyful person I've ever met. And she allowed me to see that in myself. And so in the past like 2 months, as I've kind of learned to live life without her in the physical body, right? I've let myself feel in a way that I never have. I've let myself cry. I've asked for help, and I've had to put myself first because I couldn't not put myself first. And through this experience, I've learned to love myself so much deeper because of that. And I've gotten so much more in tune with who I am and what I need, and also what's important to me. And I've been able to identify my values because Amanda, that was her name, Amanda Geisler, she was she lived a valued-based life, and she didn't waste her time on anything else. That's how she lived. And so I've gotten really clear on mine, and I've been in alignment in every choice that I make and every person that I have and every gig and opportunity I say yes to is alignment with my values. And I've developed this self-trust and this integrity within myself because I've gotten to experience and live her. And so she messed with us a little bit last week, and yeah, and like and
so
she
Amanda,
is,
wherever you are, love you, and we are so happy that you have showed us a way to live, that you, Jillie, have taken the torch now, So let's
Yeah.
just dedicate this whole interview to Amanda, because Amanda, you can go ahead and mess with us, but we're still going to get your message out.
Yes.
Still going to do it,
Yes. Yeah.
right?
Still
And
gonna do it.
you've
Yeah.
got the torch, so I'm telling you, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing that we can sit here and talk about her and how she changed your life and how she had the courage to help you to see the most important, inspiring things and loving things about yourself.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, and this is, this is an example once again, right? Is like, what's your perspective and how are you going to take it? And what are you going to do with it? And I'm choosing, right, while I'm sad and I miss her more than I ever thought was possible, I'm choosing to continue on her legacy and use it in my life every day, and let her live through me. And so, and that's a way that we can do that. And it's hard and it's not easy. But I'm also going to kind of throw that out there for people to try on and see how it works and see if it resonates. And let me know what you think.
Absolutely, because it's just so interesting to hear your life's journey, and you're not very old, and all that you've been through and all that you've realized in your life that has gotten you to this exact moment right this second to share with others and to give of yourself, to be curious, to be courageous, and to realize that you're worth it. And every one of us is.
Yeah.
So it's really, really a beautiful thing. And so, what's some of the best advice that you've been given, Jillie?
Yeah. So a couple things. The first one is that we never know the impact that we have.
Right.
And to be okay with that anyway. And so, when you kind of introduced me, you did share a little bit about Peru and some of the work that I did there. And so please, while I've definitely stepped back, my partner Coco is still there, leaving her mark and doing amazing. I'm Malika Charity, and it's an amazing, amazing organization that my heart will forever be there. And one of the first nights that I was in Peru, I met this man at a hostel, and I was having tea with him, and it was late at night, and I was nervous, and I was freaking myself out, and had so much self-doubt and fear, and I was just like, oh my God, all these people entrusted me with their money and their energy and their prayers and like all of this stuff. Like the whole story. Basically, he told me his story of being in the Peace Corps, and as he was going into the Peace Corps, he had a man that was just leaving, and for the prior 2 years had helped tutor this young boy who then applied to college in the United States. And after he left, that boy got accepted, came to the U.S., and got his education, went back to his country, and completely changed their political system. And he said that that man that helped tutor that boy never knew whether he got into that university or not. And he never knew that because of his tutoring, that boy went back and changed the whole political system in his country in Africa. And he was like, Jillie, I want you to know that you will never know the impact that you have. You will never know. You might know some of it, but you're never going to know the actual impact you have, and you have to be okay with that. To do it anyway and be grateful that you had the opportunity. And the thing is that man, don't know his name, if he walked up to me on the street, would not know who. Like that was one of the thing. It's something that has really stuck with me. And then the other thing is put yourself first. Is the other piece of advice that I've been given, and I didn't listen to it. until recently. And it has been the number one game changer in my life. And if you don't know what that means, once again, be curious and ask yourself and start figuring it out. So those are the two pieces of advice I think have made the biggest difference in my life.
Great advice. And really just people, maybe not so much advice, but just people caring about the outcome for you and what you were going to be up against, right? Because, you know, like not knowing the impact we make on people is something I don't normally think about until someone actually says something. And then I say, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful that that post helped somebody, or what I said in a talk helped somebody, or just that one piece helped someone. And right, just to be okay with that. It doesn't matter because you have to know, and he was so right, that you are making an impact, period. Doesn't matter if you hear about it or not, right?
Right. Yeah, and sometimes it's like the littlest things. Right. And we always, and just like anything else, we always remember the haters, right? We always remember the bad things. And that we don't always remember the good, and we also don't always share the good that other people do. And through my experience with, specifically with Amanda, is I've been so much more vocal about my gratitude and appreciation and about what people have done for me. And letting other people know the impact that they had in your life. Everyone, like, it's so nice to hear it. So do that. So my challenge to everyone today,
go out there. Yeah. Where are you?
Here?
Oh, there you are.
Yeah.
A minute, I lost you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's just me on my end for some reason. All of a sudden, I don't see you. I can hear you a little bit, but I don't see you. Amanda, you've got to stop this.
Yeah.
Let us just give you some glory. Will you just let us give you some glory? Come on. Oh, I love this. I just love it. I don't know what else it can be. Oh.
Yeah, I know. No, but it's, so it's good. So everyone go out there and share some gratitude today for someone in your life.
Absolutely. Share it, get out there, be a part of making a difference. And you know, it's so funny when you have gratitude and someone hears you, or someone hears you talking, or you tell somebody how grateful you are. It carries over. It carries over into the next person, to the next person, to the next person. So what is the freest version of yourself?
Yeah. This is a question I was asked a couple weeks ago, and I just love this question.
I know.
If you could wake up tomorrow and be the freest version of you, what would it be? And it, like, for me, it is to show up and be raw. To show up in all of my beauty and all of my flaws, and to be loved and embraced and accepted and celebrated. To show up with the good, bad, and the ugly, right? And to know that I am worthy of love anyway. And it would be so nice, of course, right, to get it from other people. But for me, is being able to do that for myself. To love all of that and see myself through other people's eyes and be able to live that every day. That the amount of freedom, like when I think about it, and I think that I do a pretty good job of it on most days, and I think that, of course, just like everyone else, like, I'm human and I don't some days. But if I could think about for the rest of my life, if I could do that, everything else would fall away. And have that amount of self-trust to know that I'm going to catch myself when I fall. And that would be my freest version of me.
Well, I think you can help so many of us find that freest version of ourselves. And I really, again, want to just say, connect with Jillie, please. even if you have a question or if something she said today resonated with you, just connect with her, because as you can see, she's going to be very open to what you have to say. And really, this is about love, and love is the best thing we can give and have, and it starts with ourselves. That's what we're here to talk about. That's what Jillie is here to promote in the world. That's her gift. That's why she's here. And don't we all want to know how to do that? And she has many ways she can show you how to do that. Writing love letters to yourself, that is an organization that she has near and dear to her heart. Find out about that. Go to her website. Tell us a little bit before we go about the writing love letters to yourself. You promote that. You show that on your website. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah. And so basically this letter can be whatever you want it to be, right? It can be 2 sentences, it could be 5 pages, it could be something different, a symbol or a piece of art or whatever resonates with you. It's your profession of your own love. So let it resonate and speak to you, and it doesn't matter about anything else. And for me, what was easiest was writing down what I wish someone else would tell me. And just writing it out and then speaking it out loud. And I did that. I've written probably 4 or 5 over the past few years, because it always changes, and our relationship with ourselves changes as we change. And so your definition in your letter isn't going to be something that is going to be the same for the rest of your life. It might be, but it also might change, and that's okay. That evolvement is good, and it's natural, and it's normal. So I do have some exercises on my website to kind of go through from different things that I've experienced or read or came up with myself. And also, like with the monthly newsletter, I always do a challenge or something that as well. And what I'm doing is, if you want to submit a love letter, either anonymously with your name, with a pseudonym, whatever, and I'm collecting these love letters. I'm compiling a book right now, and it's going to be a book of self-love letters and then also a workbook so that people can dive deeper into themselves. And I'm going to use a portion of the proceeds to support women empowerment organizations, send girls to school, and take this message worldwide. So I'm writing it right now and like kind of compiling it so it's not too late. And looking to figure out how to publish and all that jazz. So if anyone's out there that can help me with that, please let me know. And just know that like this is all, once again, like it's a seed, and you never know when someone picks up that book and reads that letter, what seed it's going to plant for them. And they can say, you know what, because of this person, I want this. Yes. And I'm going to go on my own journey. And guess what? You'll never know that it was your letter that did that.
So before we go, what is the message you want to leave for the world?
You are so worthy. You are worthy of love and belonging. You are deserving of your own love and belonging. That you not only are enough, but more than you could ever ask for, and more than you'll ever realize. And that you are strong and powerful and capable, and that everything you need is inside of you.
I feel better already. I really do. I feel better just by hearing you say those words, and tell me, tell you, tell all of us that we are worthy of love. We are able to have love, to be love.
Yeah.
It's just, I feel like I could go out after talking to you and just love everybody up. I'm telling you.
Good.
It's just so nice to have you on the show today and really talking about love and how to love ourselves and to really think about what that means. Again, you can find out Jillie's information on my website at www.kathybacon.com. You'll be able to see this video on What's Your Story Radio Facebook page. It will also be on YouTube What's Your Story? So you'll be able to find it. If you didn't get to watch it live, please just take a minute, and I hope you've taken a minute to watch it and to connect with Jillie. So thank you very much all for being here. Thank you, Jillie, for being here. It just warms my heart to know you're out in the world and that I'm in the world with you, because you are delightful and you make me feel like I can love myself to the fullest degree, and I can give love just as I see fit because of that. And I'm tearing up. I can't believe I'm tearing up. But it just really hit home for me today. So thank you so very, very much for being here. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in to What's Your Story Radio. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.